Joella. We're glad to have you this afternoon.
Thank you, Mildred. I'm glad to be here.
And you and I have something in common.
Yes, we do.
We have both been down the road with breast cancer.
Yes.
And God has brought us through just so wonderful.
Yes, He has. Yes, He has.
And do you want to tell us, you want to start telling us about your situation?
Sure.
Okay. Pull the mic over just a little bit more. There you go.
Okay. I was diagnosed with breast cancer August 24th, 2010. I knew that I had breast cancer before I went to the doctor. I knew it in my heart. I'd always, for some reason, had always worried my whole life about that. There was no history of that in my family whatsoever, but it was just a concern, you know, I guess as it is for a lot of women. And I knew it in my heart before I went, but I finally got up the courage to go to the doctor, and Archie went with me, and he sent me straight from the doctor's office to have a mammogram. Within 15 minutes I was having a mammogram because he knew that, you know, there was something seriously wrong also. And he called me that night and told me that it definitely was cancer, and I went and saw the surgeon the next morning, and he did the biopsy, and I started my chemotherapy probably about 2 weeks after that.
So they really rushed you up.
Yes, they
on
did,
yours.
because I had waited so long, which was very silly on my part. I would not recommend that anyone do that. If you think you're having any kind of a problem, I would recommend that you please go to the doctor much sooner than I did. And this is, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so it would be a wonderful time to
make sure you get your mammogram
Yes.
and you get checked up
Yes.
and you check yourself.
absolutely.
Now mine was quite different because I had never thought about it. Well, I guess in the back of my mind maybe I had, because Don and I had talked about it, if I ever had it, that I would just have both removed. That would be it. And of course it took the doctor a while to diagnose mine. Mammograms did not show mine. And so mine was in 95. But my mother had always feared cancer. And she had just a couple of sisters that passed away with cancer. I knew it was in my family, and yet I really never thought about it. But God spared my mother the knowledge of me having it, because she passed away in January, and I had my surgery in September of 95. So everyone is a little bit different.
Yes.
But you
yes.
need to check.
Yes,
And so you started your chemo very quickly
yes,
after
in
they
September,
diagnosed yours.
about the second week of September, I did started my chemotherapy. I was taking it every 2 weeks. I took 8 treatments, and then at the end of my chemotherapy treatments, I had my surgery. A lumpectomy is what I had done. And then after that, after I healed from that for several weeks, then I went through 35 radiation treatments. And it's, so far everything is just wonderful, but it is such a scary thing.
Yes, it is.
And you know, I would like to tell everyone here that if you think that you're having a problem, go be checked.
In fact,
Go be
it's a
checked.
good idea to be checked ever so often, even though you don't suspect anything.
Yes.
Because sometimes they'll find things that you won't find and won't realize.
Exactly.
So it's good to have the yearly check, or 2 years, however often they do it now, I'm not sure. But I know they change on those things.
Yes, they do. And I think it depends on your history too. If you have a history, then they want you to be checked more often.
In fact, there is a test out to see if you are a carrier, if it can be transmitted through your genes.
Yes.
And
yes.
since there was so many that had passed away with cancer in my family, and many who had cancer, Donna, our daughter, had lumpectomy. My sister had it. My niece had it. My aunt had it. And so there's been a lot of cancer in my family. And so they wanted to test to see In fact, it was Temple's doctors
Mm-hmm.
that asked that I take this. In fact, she's the one that sent me the kit that I took to the surgeon here, and they did the testing to see if I was carrying the gene that would pass it on to any females in my family. But the test came back negative,
Oh,
and
that's
so there
wonderful.
is no
Praise the
passing
Lord.
of that gene down to our daughters, granddaughters, great-granddaughters.
Praise the Lord.
And so it's wonderful what they have now available. So, but we can do a lot. And
Yes. Cancer is just such a scary word.
Mhm.
You know, it really is. It
Mhm.
really is. It's just the idea of cancer is so
Mhm.
scary.
But we have a wonderful cancer center here
Oh
now.
my goodness, it is
Commonwealth
wonderful. I
Cancer
would
Center.
so much recommend them to anyone.
Mhm.
They have treated me so wonderfully.
And now they have a support group
Yes.
that meets.
Yes.
I
I
went
think
with
it's
you a
the-
couple of
Yes,
times.
I think it's the first Tuesday of every month.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I believe it's 5 o'clock maybe. You could call the
Mhm.
Cancer Center
I believe
and
it is
get that
5.
correct information. But
And they have information for you. They have crafts for you. They always have good
Yes.
food for you.
yes,
In
it's
fact,
just a
one of our-
wonderful place.
One of the young people last night, I believe it was, asked me about this bracelet over here. Actually, it's a keychain. But she said, "Where did that come from?" And I said, "Well, that's your cancer journey."
Right.
I said, and they asked, they said for me to put mine and Dom's together. And so we did, and I think you were there the
Yes,
night.
I was there that night. I think we had gone together that
I
night,
think
maybe.
so, and you made one too.
Yes, I
And
did.
so there is a lot of support. Now this is if you have any kind of cancer or anyone in your family have cancer,
yes,
you go to this support group.
yes,
Which
and
is-
it's actually open to the public for, even if you're just interested in wanting to be part of the support team,
Mhm.
they would very much like for anyone to come.
Mm-hmm.
It's really is a wonderful place.
Mm-hmm.
They've treated me so well.
They've been so kind to
Yes, they have.
all of the patients.
Yes, they have. Dr. Baker is wonderful. I'm sure that all the doctors are there, but
Mhm.
he's the only one that I'm really familiar with. But he's
Mhm.
wonderful.
And he's the one that I saw in '95. He had just come to Danville and just had started. And so that's when the main office, I think, might have been Frankfurt or someplace else.
I
But
think
he
it
has
was.
he has offices in several
Yes.
towns around.
Yes, he does. London, Somerset, maybe Frankfurt. I'm not sure where
Mhm.
the offices are, but there's several of them.
Yes. So
I would like to issue a challenge today, Mildred,
Okay.
to anyone that is listening, that if you've lost someone with cancer, or if you are just with someone that is battling cancer, someone in your family, call in a pledge in honor of them or in memory of them. I would like to issue that challenge
that
today.
would be wonderful. That
Yes,
would be
that-
wonderful, and we're working on a $500 match, and so
Yes.
that would go in on that.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would, and
And
that would be great.
There's very few families that are not touched by cancer in
Absolutely.
one way or another.
Absolutely. I lost my father in '77, and we lost Archie's dad in '93,
Mhm.
and then we've lost one of Archie's brothers also to cancer,
Mhm.
and so it's always been in the back of my mind, I guess, but you don't know how you're going to feel until you're diagnosed
Mhm.
yourself.
And I know they have marches and different fundraisers for the Cancer Society, and those
Yes.
are fine. But you need a support group too, and you need someone to pray for you and pray
Yes.
with you,
Yes.
and WDFB does that.
Yes, I know that WDFB did that for me so many times, and
Yes.
that the prayers that were sent up for me were just overwhelming. And I thank you so much.
God is so good,
Yes, He
and
is.
He provides what we need when we need it.
Yes, He does.
And I appreciate you, appreciate your testimony, I appreciate your faithfulness to God and faithfulness to the church, and I appreciate your testimony and being willing to share with others what God has done for you
Thank you. I
and what He's
appreciate
done
that.
for us.
Yes.
He'll do for
Yes.
others.
That's right. He will. He
Yes.
will.
He will see us through.
Yes, He will. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. You have anything else you want to talk about?
I would like to share a verse that I was in a women's conference at Gethsemane during the time that I was going through my cancer treatment, and Lois Jane was there, and she was talking about some trials and things that she had been through, and she quoted this verse, and it was Joshua 1:9. I brought my Bible so I don't misquote it. And it says, "Haven't I commanded you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go."
Yes, He is. And He said, "I'll never leave you, and I'll never forsake you."
That's right. He's with you if you have to have chemotherapy or radiation or whatever you have to do. He's with you always.
Yes. Did you know that Don signed his books with Joshua 1?
Oh, that's
so no
great.
matter what we're going through,
That's exactly right.
He's going to be right there with us.
No matter where you have to go, what you have to do, He's always with us.
Right.
And that was, those women's conferences are so wonderful, but
Yes,
that
they are.
just touched me so much
Mm-hmm.
because I was going through that at that particular time.
Mhm.
And if there's someone out there today that is worried that this could be going on with them and they're not sure, if they need someone to talk to, I'd be glad to leave my number with you. If they'd like someone to go to the doctor with them or just, be there with them,
That's
I know how they
wonderful.
feel. And I had such a good support group when I was sick. I really did.
That
I
is
really
great.
did. Archie was so good to me, and Billy and Kathy Nevews came and played games with us, and just
Bless her.
I
They're
couldn't go
precious.
anywhere. My blood levels were so low. I
Right.
wasn't even allowed to go to church.
Mhm.
Couldn't even get out around, the public or anything. And it was just, my two aunts were wonderful, and I had a sister from Michigan that came and stayed with me, and we just had such a good support group, and I'm so thankful for that.
And that is so important.
Yes, it is.
So important, and that is
Yes,
so
it is.
wonderful.
It is so important.
And there's nothing like the family of God.
No. And right in that time, I had I think my first chemo treatment,
Mm-hmm.
and Vanessa and her family came to see me one Saturday afternoon, and I was not feeling very good. But I wanted to try to act like I was for Maddie's sake, because I didn't want her to be upset. And when she came in, I noticed that Maddie had a shirt on that said, "I'm the big sister." And I thought, well, I know I've had chemo, but I know they don't have any more children that I don't know about. And I didn't say anything for the longest time, and finally Vanessa said, "Did you notice the shirt that Maddie has on?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And she said, "Well, we're going to have another baby." And she hugged me and she told me, "That will give you something to look forward to."
Yes.
And it did.
Yes. You had 9 months of support there.
Yes. What a wonderful little fella he is.
Yes.
There's so much to look forward to.
Yes.
There
So
really is.
You enjoy these little ones, haven't
Yes.
you? They are just precious.
So very much.
Yes.
So very much. I was actually babysitting Maddie when I got sick, and
Mhm.
I was not able to keep her any longer, and that killed me, but
Mhm.
she still knows I love her.
And I'm sure it hurt her too.
It did. It did,
Mhm.
I'm sure. But I've just had such a wonderful support group, and just thank this radio station so much for their prayers, and just, it just touched my heart so much. I'd never been sick at all, ever.
Mhm.
Been in the hospital when I was born and when Lewis was born. That's the only two times I had ever even been in the hospital. So this was like such a,
Blow.
it was
big
such
blow.
a scare. It really
Yes.
was, because I'd never ever been through anything like that before, ever. I was always the one that took care of the sick person.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't the sick person.
Mm-hmm.
So it was quite an adjustment for me.
But there's times that we've all got to call for help,
Yes, that's exactly right.
and we really appreciate it.
Yes, yes. And you're really blessed when you don't have to actually call for help, when it's just
They
given
just
to
come.
you.
That's right.
It's just given to you.
That is right.
And I had so much of that,
That is wonderful.
so much of that. And I just thank everyone.
Well, for my part, and for the listeners of WDFB, you are very, very welcome. And I appreciate all those who stood by you and were your caregivers and helpers during your time.
Yes.
And thank God you're doing so well now.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
it.
I thank God that I have overcome, that God has touched my body many, many times. He is our healer.
Yes,
He's
He
our
is.
Savior. He's our
Yes, He
healer. He's
is.
our helper. And He's promised to supply all of our needs.
Yes, He has.
And we're
Yes,
so
He
grateful.
has. He has, and He will always supply your needs.
Yes, He will.
Maybe not your wants, not all of your
Mhm.
wants, but all of your needs.
Yes. Yes. Do you have anything else you'd like to tell us?
Maybe a little later.
Okay.
Maybe I'll talk with you again a little later if you'd
Okay.
like.
That would be great.
Okay.
So would you like to encourage folks to call?
Yes, I would. I would like to encourage everyone to call, even if you don't have someone in your family that's going through cancer. Just call in a pledge to. We need to get this match met.
We do. We're working on a $500 match. We need $450. And our number's 859-236-9332 or 236-9.
333.
Very good, Joella. It has been so wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.
And it's so wonderful to be able to share.
Yes,
And
it
I'm
is.
glad that you shared with our listeners today.
I was so scared to do this, and actually when you called me the other day, it kind of caught me off guard, and I just immediately agreed that I would do it, and it just, then when I got off the phone with you, I was like, oh my goodness, did I really say that? But I'm so glad I did.
And you're not so nervous now.
No.
Isn't that wonderful?
It is.
God gives us grace as we need it.
Yes, He does. Yes, He does.
That is wonderful. Well, I wonder if Archie, your husband,
Mm-hmm.
would be ready to sing now.
He or Vanessa won. They're both out there. I'm not sure which one is ready.
Well, let's just see which one's walking up there. You know what? I believe that Archie is going to sing.
I believe you.
Bless his heart. He has been a wonderful husband
Yes, he has.
to you, and I am so grateful for that. And he's been a friend of WDFB for many years.
Yes, he has.
Okay, Archie, what would you like to say to us?
Hey, you know, they was talking about Debbie's song about crying and tears and stuff like that. God gives tears for a reason.
Yes.
And we shed plenty of them during that time. As I lost my dad first, and then my brother. And Joella's dad had already passed before we married or ever met, but I felt like I loved him all my life. I remember talking about it and stuff. But, you know, this Joella's mother passed away shortly after that. And, just so much went on at one time there. Through about a 10-year period, 15-year period. It just seemed like all of her family was passing away. And she came up with this and going on. But anyway, we went through a lot during that time. And sometimes we struggled. And sometimes we had happy times. Most of all, we stayed together. Stuck together through it.
Amen. That's wonderful.
I think it's what counts in the end.
Yes.